That's an interesting question. Um, I'm going to preempt this. You put a question up here. Let's go to this question of the week. Have you ever had to deal with jury summons and or been on a jury?
I have not ever. I've had one jury summons, but it was my license was still in Washington when I was living in Idaho at the time, and so I just called them up. I'm like, I don't live there anymore, and they're like, okay. So
what about you, Kurt?
Yeah. So I got out of a bunch, but I did have to go to a selection once and sat in the waiting room for 4 hours just to be told, okay, you guys can go home.
I've heard those stories.
Yep.
Now, how did you get out of them? How'd that work?
So at least I got them in when I was in California, and at least there it was very much you could tell them that you had a work conflict,
okay,
that kind of thing, and that's how I got out of them. But you couldn't do that if you got called in the same year again.
Interesting. So when did you have to go to the courthouse to then say, hey, I have a work conflict? Or
not in California, because they had a way to do it online.
So same with Georgia. So except Georgia's so weird too. So Joe, I have a similar story to you. Is I'd moved from one county to another and been gone for a year. Now I'd been living in that county for a long time and working for EMS for a long time in that county. We finally moved, and about a year later, I got my first summons sent to my new address in a whole nother county going, we're putting you on jury duty. I called them up because this was a small county, and I called them up and I said, hey, does it matter that I don't live in that county anymore? I'm like, oh no, sweetheart, you don't have to come in. That was, it was very, very country county. But twice now in Hoodlum County that I live in, I have been summoned, and they do have an online way to do it, Kurt. And that's why I was asking, because there's all kind of different ways to do it. Like the country one, I still didn't have to go in, but I had to call a phone line, or go in. And in Rockdale County where I live, both times it has this thing online. And it says check in the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one I got, I literally did check in. You have to wait till after 5 on the Friday before, whatever it is. And I did check in online, and that one said, no, you've been dismissed. Don't worry about it. This time was a week or two ago. And I was going to follow instructions, going to wait till Friday after 5 to check in. And like Thursday morning, I get a text on my phone, from the number that matched the letter that they sent saying, hey, all jurors are dismissed. So I've never had to go and sit in that room, because I think that'd be worse, Kurt.
It's
I don't
bad.
mind like being summoned, and I'm not going, I don't mind going if I have to, but to sit in a room for 4 hours for them to come out and go, peace out, yo. No, I want to say guilty on somebody. Somebody. Come on.
After all that time.
Maybe it's a good thing you weren't in the jury.
Yeah, they start asking you those disqualifications. I'm like, well, Your Honor, if you look at Wise and Nerdy for June 6th,
they're guilty.
I'm just letting you know.
Yep.
I don't know if I believe in innocence or guilt or the system at all, but this will surely make an entertaining story on my show. So I'm all for it, man. What'd they do? What'd they do? Touch a dog? Steal a kid? Come on. What'd they do? I got you.
Guilty.
Now I've
MakeSureOn.com/Wise and Nerdy if you want an innocent verdict.
Now I've watched a lot of court cases on YouTube, because a lot of judges and courtrooms are now broadcasting live.
Yeah.
And so there are some courtrooms and some judges I would love to be in the courtroom for.
No kidding, right?
Because they are awesome.
I saw a clip either last week or the week before of a guy who was attending digitally for his court appearance. And he called in while driving. He's like, I'm parking. It's okay.
Video. Yes.
And his court summons was for him driving with an expired license.
Yeah.
And the judge was just like, really?
Yeah. And then when they told us, like, you have to turn yourself in, you were remanded to custody for like 6 months until the next year, whatever. He's like, oh, Lord.
And it was like you got to be kidding me. Like he was like,
yeah.
what? I'm like, what did you expect to happen?
It's lift, man. Get a lift. Come on.
Yeah, some people aren't the brightest. And the ones that I have a particular affinity for watching are the sovereign citizens.
I want to have an affinity for it, but it's the same stupidness over and over.
No, that's the thing. Like nobody learns anything.
Right. No, I know.
They question the jurisdiction of the judge, and the judge goes, yeah, so you're talking nonsense, but you can sit in the cell and we can talk about who has jurisdiction over who. And that's what usually ends up happening.
They'll talk over you. Like, go ahead, talk about jurisdiction, Kurt.
Yeah, so
Your Honor, I want to know what jurisdiction this is in.
So this is the jurisdiction that was granted to me by the state
Your Honor,
of Georgia.
I want you to answer what jurisdiction is this? Whose jurisdiction is it? Yeah.
Is this a criminal or an admiralty jurisdiction? It's like, what are you talking about?
I don't understand. This is worse than flat earthers. I don't look. I'm not going to argue with a flat earther. To me, that's like veganism, whatever. You know what? I don't really care. I don't really care if we don't go crazy. When you want me to believe that every airline pilot in the world and every satellite photo of every country everywhere is wrong, that the world's okay, whatever. But you want to talk about some other stuff, whatever. But this is worse. This sovereign citizen thing is like, just crazy, man.
They pick and choose what they want to read from the Constitution because they always quote the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
Except they always forget the 10th Amendment, which grants states rights to govern themselves. But, whatever.
But let's be true. Let's be truthful. They're not quoting the Constitution like they read it. They are quoting some BS they saw online.
And they print it out because they all have binders.
They
all have binders.
Yeah, they're not even scrolling on the phone. It's like a big blue binder and they flip through.
I should apologize ahead of time because we probably just lost all of our sovereign citizen viewership. So,
or they'll call in and want to argue with us. One of the two.
Oh, that would be awesome. Please call our speak pipes.
Yeah.
Please call our speak pipe. I would love to listen to.
We need a new link. We need a new link. It should be wiseandnerdy.com/come at me, bro. It takes you to speak pipes, just like Call Dad does. But yeah, these daddies are ready to rumble. Come on, man.
It's insane. It's just insane. And part of it, I feel bad for some of these people because they've been fed this line and believe it now. And it's just terrible because nobody wins anything. Like they win time, free room and board is what they win. They win free room and board.
Yeah.
For stupid little like crimes. Like they could get a fine for $100.
And then they talk themselves into so much more.
Yeah.
Random kid is close. If a flat earther has a baby with a sovereign citizen, it would be the dumbest kid on the planet. You're close. If a flat earther had a baby with a sovereign citizen, it'd be the epitome of being homeschooled.
Except you're both wrong because what everyone knows, kids rebel. So if a flat earther and a sovereign citizen had a baby, this kid would go, Mom, Dad, the earth is round and we have laws. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Now, Joe, I heard that my wife's going to hear this episode and get on me, tone in your voice, about homeschoolers. No, okay, not that kind. Yeah, sorry, no, this is. But you know. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong that 90% of homeschoolers. See, you were homeschooled. This is why I know you're off.
I wasn't homeschooled.
Shut up, Mormon. So, homeschooling. 90% of the homeschoolers are zombie. Like they zone out. They don't get social interaction. It's the no TV. No. If that's not been your experience. Well,
I think
you don't leave more in your.
I think that's the stigma, or that's how people view it. But in reality, that hasn't been my case interacting with homeschoolers in our area.
Good for you. I mean that. I do mean that. I'm the rock god of homeschooling, baby. I came up when that stuff wasn't a thing, and we helped work. It wasn't just me. There's communities. There was other stuff. We brought it to where it is now. I told my wife last night, no, I hate homeschoolers. They're like children of the corn. Most of them. here's a stereotype that I lived through, not in my house. So my house being a Southern Baptist, really South Georgia household, we were lenient compared to other homeschooling houses that we met as I came up through high school and different things. Most homeschoolers know, so it's almost veganism meets schooling, like no candy, no sodas, no sugar, no TV. We don't say shut up in our house. You don't get to have friends, kind of thing.
What you're describing isn't necessarily a problem with homeschooling, but with controlling parents.
But Venn diagram, controlling parents like to homeschool. And then you throw in the Deep South, it gets weird, man. So that's all I'm saying. And I told my wife this stuff, and she was the same way as you. Now, she had not experienced a lot of homeschoolers. She came up through the public education system. That's why she's short. And it is just, so I was telling her this. So she ends up taking
Where's
when
the
my
Venn
kids
diagram on that?
and she's left-handed. And, God hated her. That's all I'm saying. So she went to this Boy Scout thing. She had some friends that had their kids were in Boy Scouts the same age as my kids, and she did this Boy Scout overnight thing at the aquarium in Atlanta. And she came back, she's like, "Babe, you're not wrong." And she took pictures and was sharing stories of, let's say there's 30 kids. Out of those 30 kids, 26 of them were homeschooled and were exactly what I'm describing. Just had no idea how to function in public. No, none of this stuff. I was like, look, I understand it's not, I mean, it's funny because stereotypes are funny and stereotypes are based off some truth, but there's obviously, I mean, seriously, I was homeschooled my entire life. I get it. Joe, I've met your kids. I was homeschooled my entire life. I get it. So, but there's a stereotype for a reason. And I don't know how you guys let me get on this rant. You're idiots. So let's roll some dice.
you just pick up stuff and run with it.
It's best to just let you run out of gas.
Have I ever run out of gas, Kurt?
We need to give you one of those marathon awards for just side topics that you just pick up and run with.
We need our own wise and nerdy medals to give out every year for side topic running, for weight loss, for bracing coughs. I don't know.